So Palantir, in my opinion, is currently massively overvalued, and today we're going to look at why that stock is overvalued. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let's get started. So I've been thinking about making a video on Palantir for a little bit. The more I go on YouTube, the more I see people talk about Palantir as a stock that still has so much potential on the upside. It was only early today, and I will not place the YouTube channel on here because I think it's a little bit unfair because it's a new channel in the UK, and I've never seen this YouTube channel before, but the video was recommended to me, and he was on there saying that Palantir has the most potential for 2025 as a stock, and I just could not believe it. I saw the other day when I was on X, I saw someone here post that, and by the way, this account had some decent followers as well, 43,000 followers, and this account here, I don't know if they're being sarcastic, but they said here, Palantir has 100x potential. I just could not believe that someone was saying that Palantir had 100x potential from these current prices, and it's just more evidence to me that the market at the moment is, on the US side, is getting a bit more into a bubble territory. You know, I look at Palantir stock, and the other day the stock actually hit $80, and then we had a little bit of negativity out there, and look how quickly that stock fell, 10%. I think sometimes people don't realise that at the moment, because Palantir just keeps going up and up and up and up, people think this is going to go on forever. They don't realise that it's like an elastic band. The more you stretch it away from its true valuation, that when that does have that kind of pullback, it doesn't half sting, and that pullback will happen quite aggressively. We saw exactly the same thing when we saw the boom in 2020, 2021, where the stocks went absolutely crazy, and then there was the kind of big pullback in it, and it really hurt the market and a lot of these stocks that really rallied up. And as I look at Palantir right now and the whole market, I just feel like the more that there's more of this going on here, you know, we have the S&P 500 at 30 times earnings, which is incredibly high. There's just more signs to me that we're getting a bit bubbly, and you know, there's people piling into Palantir now. People are piling in at $70, and it's like, you know, I think Palantir is a good company, but I don't think the valuation is good. And if you're going to have a successful investment, you need to have a good company, you need to have a good valuation. I just don't know how people are looking at Palantir at the moment and still thinking it's a buy at the moment. I just don't know how they're running the numbers and seeing the value at the moment. That's a concerning thing. And I guess really it's probably newer investors, I'd say. You know, these newer investors that some of their mates or they're seeing this stock being talked about more and more, and they're kind of thinking, you know, that FOMO, that missing out of like, oh, well, I want to get in this, I'm going to buy. And then eventually, unfortunately, the people that are buying more and more at the top are the ones that are going to get hurt the most. And like I said, I think Palantir it is a good company. You know, I think when the stock did get to $6, $7, I do think the stock was undervalued during that time period. I just think it's gone way too high. I don't think the company should be a 161 billion market cap company. I don't think the company should trade at 358 times earnings. That's absolutely ridiculous. And financially, like I said, the company's doing really well. You know, you look at the recent results, they're actually pretty decent results. And the more I enjoy it, the more I get to laugh at that other guy on YouTube that sold it out when it was $8 and has missed on nearly a 10-bagger during that time frame. You know, it's funny, this is the guy that goes around criticising everyone, calling everyone an idiot. I've not heard for the last 2 years what he's thinking about Palantir right now. So I do enjoy Palantir going up, and I am happy for all the people that have made money. I'm just so concerned about the people that are piling into the stock right now because I just don't know what they're kind of seeing here. Now, my concerns around Palantir is that you look at the revenue growth now, there's been a really nice rebound in the revenue growth, but sometimes this is going to go through higher patches and slower patches. We saw in 2023 the revenue growth slowed down to 12%. So sometimes this growth is not going to last forever. It's a company that when the economy is doing very well, it should do very well. If we're in a weaker economy, people are going to be willing less to spend on Palantir's platform, and we saw that in 2022, 2023. I think the other thing with Palantir that's helping it do its really good results at the moment is that this is probably the biggest time that we've had a conflict in the world. This is in the last kind of 2 years. I mean, how many conflicts are going on now? We didn't really have that many conflicts previously, and maybe you'd argue the case that with Donald Trump in, he would maybe hopefully be able to stop some of these wars. And that's definitely helped the revenue in Palantir. There's definitely been a boom in the revenue in Palantir because a few countries have been looking at it at the moment and going, this is a little bit worrying what's going on. We need to spend a little bit more on our defensive budget. So a slower economy, and if there was to be a slowdown on some of these wars, I feel like that will hurt Palantir's growth. And at some point, these growth rates aren't going to stay consistent forever like we have seen with Palantir. And then obviously the valuation, you know, we talk about a company that's 64 times sales here. We just talked about the Palantir is currently 358 times earnings. It's currently 64 times sales. For every dollar, you're paying $64 for that dollar. That's absolutely insane. We saw what happened when we were in February 2021, the top of the market. The company went all the way to 46 price to sales ratio, and now the company's at 64 price to sales ratio. This is, if you ever wanted a sign of like we are getting very frothy here, this is it. After we had the stock market crash, this went all the way down to a 6 times sales ratio. I can't believe people are willing to pay $64 for every dollar that this company earns from a revenue point of view. That is the biggest graph that I can show you about how scary it's going, and just look at how much of a straight line it's going up in. The last time that happened where it just went up in a straight line, look at the pullback that happened. I had a stock like Palantir, it ended up from a PS ratio point of view, it went down massively during that time frame. And I look about these people that are talking about Palantir being a stock that's going to do really well from here. I just don't know how they see it. I just don't know how, on the numbers that they're currently doing, I don't know what came off the recent quarter. They came off revenue of 725 million, net income of 143 million. I just don't know where they see the upside from. If I was to show you some numbers here for the company, so I put in 15% of revenue, 20% revenue, 25% revenue growth. So I put a bit of a broader range in here on the revenue growth point of view. Profit margin of 18%, so they're currently doing an 18% profit margin, I believe, 20% and 22%. So I'm even factoring in some growth of scale as they scale up, more going to the bottom line. And at 20 times earnings, there's just no upside. On the low side, negative 89%. On the mid side, 85%. And on the high side, negative 81%. Now, I know a lot of you guys will say, well, Jacob, it's not going to trade at 20 times earnings, and I agree. I think realistically, something, when you start factoring premiums, that's something you've got to be really careful of. But I will factor in a bit of a premium because I do believe this company won't trade at 20 times earnings. But even when I start putting this company up to 60 times earnings, there's still no upside. It should be half the value of where it is right now to be break even, which is scary. So you talk about a company growing at these numbers, expanding the profit margin, and there's still nowhere near to any upside in the next 5 years. Now, let's say that someone says, actually, you know what, your growth rates are still too slow for this company. Okay, well, I'll upgrade the revenue growth to 20% on the low side, 25% on the mid side, and on the high side, I'm going to put it up to 30% revenue growth, which is what they're currently doing right now. There's still no upside on Palantir with 30% revenue growth, 22% profit margins, up from 18% profit margins, and it trades at 60 times earnings, okay? Now I'm getting really ridiculous. 100 times earnings, okay? So in the next 5 years, if Palantir grows 30%, it goes from 18% profit margin up to 22% profit margin. It trades at 100 times earnings. You make 8% on that stock in the next 5 years. I mean, best of luck to you. The profit margin, let's say the profit margin, let's go to a 24% profit margin. Okay, we're up to 18%. Okay, let's go, we have to go even higher. I'm trying to see what would we need to get to 100% profit, 100% return on this stock in the next 5 years. Nope, 30% profit margin. I'm gonna have to go higher. 100 times earnings. Okay, let's 30%. Let's go to 4% revenue growth. Okay, we're 99%. I'm gonna take it. We're nearly there. So the only way you're gonna make 100% return on this company in the next 5 years, in my opinion, is if Palantir grew at 40% revenue growth, the profit margin went from 18% up to 30%, and the company traded at 100 times earnings. Yeah, if you're buying that at those levels, you're brave. You're very, very brave. I cannot see that happening. But if you want to make money on that, that's the numbers that, in my opinion, you've got to see them do. It's crazy levels. It's crazy levels of expectation from a company. The people that I see at the moment that say, oh yeah, still buy Palantir, I just don't know how they're doing it. Because when you look at the numbers, I don't know how people are staring at this and thinking, you know what, I'm willing to pay 358 times earnings for this business. It's just not going to happen. And even on the upside now, I think that there's just really limited upside, really. I mean, really, to see where I think Palantir would be a buy, you need the stock to fall down massively. I think you're talking nearly, I just put the stock actually at half the share price of what it's currently at, and it's still not showing actually that much upside, to be fair. That just shows you that I've just halved the market cap and the share price, and I'm still not seeing it as a buy. That kind of shows you where Palantir is currently at the moment. Actually, to be fair, I do have it at 20 times earnings. Maybe if I put 60 times earnings. Oh, there's still not plenty of upside there, actually, to be fair. So even when I'm having the share price and the market cap, I probably still won't buy Palantir. That's how overvalued I believe that Palantir is right now. Now, saying that, I'm not going to go short, because with a stock like this, I thought Palantir was overvalued a long time ago. I thought Palantir was overvalued when the stock started getting back up to like $30, $40. I thought that it was getting a little bit frothy there. Since it went to $40 in literally a month, it's gone up 69%. And I thought it was overvalued there. And that's why I don't short stocks, especially stocks like Palantir, because when the momentum goes like this, it can just go absolutely ballistic. The only problem is that when it comes down on the other side, it falls very fast. And when you're at a valuation like this, you've seen very quickly, within one day, a stock like this can fall, 10%. You imagine what will happen to a stock like this if something comes out, like the economy data starts going a little bit weak, if there's another war that comes in, something else happens. It would be, certain countries say they're not going to use Palantir anymore. It would be a rapid descent from here. And that's the thing, is that when something's so stretched, when you have that elastic band stretching further and further away, when the fundamentals and that valuation is getting further and further away, when it does have the reality check, it is painful. And yeah, I'm happy for anyone that's made money on Palantir, and well done. It's definitely certainly a good stock. The valuation is not good. The valuation is definitely not good, and I think a few people might get hurt in this one, and I think there's a few people chasing this stock, and the more they chase it, I think there's certainly elements that they're going to get hurt if they keep chasing this stock. So yeah, that's the video on Palantir today, because I see so many people out here on this space saying that Palantir is just going to go up and up and up. And the tipping point, like I said, is I saw a video this morning of someone saying that Palantir was the #1 stock to buy for 2025, and I went, I just don't know how they're doing that. So yeah, hopefully some of you guys are running numbers and you're keeping a calm head on there, and realizing that maybe there's not that much upside on that one. So hope you enjoyed the video anyway, guys. See you in a bit.